completely forgot to film when I unboxed this one. So I don't feel like this is going to be as exciting as in the first writing vlog that I had for Take You Down, when that started out with me unboxing and seeing it for the first time. But also, like, it's still really cool to see your book for the first time like this one. But, you know, I guess it's not like as monumentous as seeing this one. So I have the first proof copy of Take My Hand. So this is not going to be the final cover. As you can see, it's like cut off here. This is the wrong size cover. I just needed to find something to be able to submit to Amazon to get like a proof copy, because it is currently May 19th. I need to have the final cover resize uploaded tonight in order for them to go live on release day. Fingers crossed. I am very, very stressed out about this, if you cannot tell. So, I mean, this one isn't perfect, but I can at least see the inside, make sure that everything looks good. And it's just so pretty. I love the red and the orange on this one. Oh, I'm just really excited about this book in general. Like, I just feel like, you know, this is like, I couldn't have done anything more with this story. I just love it so much. And I hope that anyone who reads it enjoys it as well. But also look at how pretty they look together. Are you joking? I mean, they're gonna look even better when this is like the right size and everything, but are you joking? They look so pretty together. I'm just obsessed. This is like the coolest to have these both. So stick around for the actual writing vlog, but this is Take My Hand, y'all. You'll see it from start to finish. Well, I'm gonna start this vlog. We'll see if I actually stick with it, but you guys have seen, well, I guess by the time that this video goes up, the other one is gonna have been months ago. But when I uploaded the Take You Down writing vlog, a lot of you really liked that. So let's try it with Take My Hand. We're writing book 2. We started book 2. So today is Wednesday, October 18th, and let me just kind of run down what we've got so far. So literally book 1 just released 2 days ago. 2 days ago as of now when I'm starting this. It's gonna have been a while back when you guys see this video, but I've already started writing some of book 2. I had some scenes written for book 2 before book 1 was even published, and I just now finished my outline tonight, at least as much as I can. I still think there might be some parts that I discover as I go, and that happened with book 1, where then it was like, oh, I think I want to like write this scene and it kind of fits in here. Like, my outline is not like my Bible by any means. It's more just like a good structure for me to follow and making sure that I'm including the things that I want to include. Because a lot of the times I get going and then I kind of forget. I'm like, you were supposed to be like building this in throughout like more of the story at the beginning. So we have Hayden's board, which his is probably my favorite. I just really like the contrast of like the red and black and white and grayscale, and it's just really fun. And it has a lot of cool elements to it. Of course, got to keep like the rocks. Oh, this was like moved out of the way. Oh, because I think I was adding something in. So you have like the rock star hands in the background, because I said so, and the sex is art. I'm really excited for this. He's gonna be a fun one, guys. He's really gonna be a fun one. And then we got Carter here. I also love hers, and I really, just for some reason, she just screamed like orange to me, and I feel like it works really well with Hayden's red. So that's what we went with. Really enjoy this one a lot too. So those are my character boards for the second book. Like, I don't really even know what tropes it's gonna fall into. Honestly, it's probably just gonna be like friends to lovers and like rock star romance. I don't really have any tropes that fit into this one, and I never want to like feel like I have to just throw tropes in for the sake of like having little like, look at this, like check off this, where like book 3 is gonna have a little bit more like tropage in it, I guess. So I use a Canva calendar to help keep me on track. I used it for Take You Down. It helped me immensely, and I'm doing it again for Take My Hand. Now I have built out, so today's the 18th, I just finished my outline. So I'm leaving one more day to outline, because tomorrow I want to like read through it completely again and just check to make sure that we're kind of good to go. And then we're writing. And so I will get to give myself a little check mark every day that I do it. I have a little X if I don't do it that day, and I don't like getting X's. So it honestly keeps me really accountable. So this is just like a template that I found in Canva, and I absolutely love it. And then so on the days that I have blacked out are days that I'm like letting myself have off of writing. So like in October, I have a Halloween party I'm going to that night. Sure, I could write during the day, but also I work during the day. So like I wouldn't really have much time to do that. So blocking that day off. Then like in November, we just got tons of writing. We got my birthday. I'm going to the Disney Expo in Chicago. I don't even know what that is, but I'm going to it. And then I blocked 2 days for Thanksgiving. And then again, December, we're just writing. And then we get into January, and I want to have my first draft done by January 8th. So I definitely think that that's doable, honestly. And maybe that's just because right now I'm feeling like really fucking motivated with the story because I'm so genuinely excited about Hayden and Carter, and I'm really excited about so many of the scenes to be writing between them. And I think too, the easier thing with this book is that I don't have to like do all of the establishing that I had to do in book one, where granted the challenging part for it is going to be that I'm going to have to figure out how to put enough in there so that if people don't read book one and just want to pick up book two, because they are standalones. That's why I didn't even put Whisper Me Nothing series book one on like the front of Take You Down's cover, because I didn't want people to feel like they need to read all of them in order, like let's say they just want to read book two, like that one piques their interest. I don't want to make them think that they have to read book one. I think it would be a richer experience, and don't skip over my babies Walker and Scar, but also I want to like have that option for people who don't like reading every book in a series. So I need to figure out the balance of including enough information, because obviously if you read book one, you met both these characters and you know a little bit of their backstory. So I need to have like a little bit of that in here, but also not too much where it feels like I'm like for people of being like, we already know all of this stuff, kind of like what's the deal? So that's going to be a tricky balance for me. But I am looking forward to just writing a lot of these scenes. And also the fun thing about the beginning with this book is that Hayden and Carter already know each other, and they already have like a bit of like a friendship established, like at least like an acquaintanceship established, I guess I would say, because they were obviously on tour together. And even though they have not like dated, like anything like that, they at least know each other, where Walker and Scar didn't know each other at all. And like, so that took a lot of like, just really slow burn. Their relationship is still gonna be slower burn because I don't like insta love or anything, but it's not gonna be as slow burn as Walker and Scar's was. I already wrote the first chapter. It's from Hayden's POV, and I didn't realize that I guess the first book also started from Walker's POV. So maybe all of them will just have to start from the guys' POVs. Right now, my tentative release date is April 2nd, or that is like my goal release date, I guess. But if I somehow happen to get done earlier, then I'd like to release it sometime in March. But I'm giving myself April 2nd just to be like on the cautious side, because I know even though I'm feeling really, really like optimistic and feeling like I can like really power through this book, I know that there are going to be times where I'm like, this is garbage and it's bad and you can't write for shit, which I think especially too now after having, it's a double-edged sword after having Take You Down now, because I've done it once, so I know that I'm capable of it, but now also Take You Down is out there and I can see if people don't like it. Granted, it's only 2 days out. Yeah, again, this is going to be a no spoilers vlog though, because obviously it'll come out on release day, but I will just say I'm a little more nervous about this book in terms of some of the, not even some, in terms of one of the plot lines. I'm not wavering in it. I'm not letting anyone talk me out of it. It's important and I'm going to include it, but I know it's also going to be very polarizing. So that does make me a little nervous, but I know that I can't let that get in the way of telling this story. So anyways, all right, I'm done working for the night because I have like 60 pages left of Fourth Wing, and it's Survivor and Amazing Race night, and I only have like an hour, so I'm gonna go and finish Fourth Wing and then watch TV for the rest of the night. But at least I'm feeling really good about this, and I'll check back in when I have another check-in. Well, I knew this point would come, so I shouldn't be like surprised, but it doesn't make it any easier. So it is, what is today? It's Tuesday, November 7th, and I think I'm like calling it for the night. I only wrote, I think, about like 1,500 words, but honestly, I've kind of hit the point where I just feel like I suck. I don't know. It's not the story, but this, like, tonight was the first time since I've been writing this book that I, like, wrote, you know, like a chunk, like a decent chunk, like probably 4 or 5 paragraphs worth, and it just like sucked, and I deleted it and then like tried writing it again, and just like it wasn't working, and then I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna like be done for the night. But then I'm like, no, you still need to write tonight. And I don't know, it's just one of those nights where I'm kind of feeling like, it's just not good. Like, it's not the story, it's just not coming out how I want it to, and I'm just not liking it, and I'm just feeling like I'm a bad writer, and like, why am I even trying this? which, you know, I figured it would come at some point, but I was hoping that it wouldn't come so soon in this story. So I don't know. It's just not, I think I'm like getting too in my head about like trying to edit myself already. And it's like, I shouldn't be doing that. Like, I'm not letting myself edit. I'm not letting myself reread. But I think like even just as I'm writing, I'm like, that's not good. And it's like, well, no shit. And then I have the cats who they still are like not on board with the time change yet. They have been waking me up like an hour early every morning still, which is fine. Like that's not that big of a deal. But this girly pop right here, who's getting all up in the camera, she has just been an absolute nightmare sitting here tonight, just yelling at me for her TREAT and laser time, even though it's not time for that yet. But she just thinks that it is because in her mind, we're an hour later, right? You do not like daylight savings time. You need to get with the program, honey. I'm so sorry, but you just do. So I think that's like been adding to my frustration, is that both of the cats have just been like up my ass ever since I've sat down. Like him too. He's just been yelling from over there. Oh, anyways, I'm gonna take this as my sign. It's only 7 o'clock, but it's Dancing with the Stars night. So I'm gonna go watch Dancing with the Stars and be done with this shit for tonight. Cause honestly, I just hate it. And I don't like anything that I just wrote, and that's not very fun. That's not fun. Okay, so it is Saturday, November 11th, and I have only written about 1,500 words tonight, which I was kind of like beating myself up about a little bit, but I just kind of felt like stuck in the dialogue. Like it just was feeling like I was having to like force it, and like out of everything you can tell when dialogue feels forced. So I was like, I'm gonna give myself a bit of a break. Kind of made like a mock release schedule for myself, just trying to outline where I'm going over the next like almost 2 years at this point. So I made a little Canva calendar, as I do for all of my writing shit, because I have one to keep me on track with writing, but I also now have made one all the way out through February of 2026, because here's the thing. So Take My Hand, I have 2 release dates for that tentatively right now. I have either Monday, March 25th or Tuesday, April 2nd, pushing for March. And I was doing the math and I'm like, if I wrote 2,000 words every single day that I have like marked up for me to write between now and December 31st, I can write like almost like, what was it, like 88,000 words. And I already am at like 17,000 in chronological order, with like 2,500, I think, in patchwork scenes. So that is like above what I am kind of anticipating. The first draft of Take You Down was roughly about 90,000 words. And then my draft that I had sent off to be edited was about 100. And then it came back down a little bit. So it was like in the high 90s. And so that's kind of what I'm anticipating with Take My Hand. I'm thinking that it'll be about the same length. So I'm kind of shooting for 90,000 words on this first draft. So I'm thinking I can more than have that done. So yeah, I think we're feeling pretty good. I was actually thinking about emailing Z, who's the one who proofread Take You Down, and trying to lock in a date for like copy and line editing for like February, because I feel like if I lock that in for like early February, if she has availability, then that really keeps me on track and on a deadline, because then that could be like first draft done December 31st, and then right in the new year, then that would give me a month to edit myself and to have my like alpha readers do it, hand it into her hopefully like early February. And I think I'm already gonna like email Haya, who cover designed Take You Down. I've already been like, can we start on book 2's cover? So I think I'm actually gonna email her maybe in like December and kind of get that rolling. I have a pretty clear vision of what I want. I want it to pretty much look like, or not like look like Take You Downs, but very similar. I want them to all have similar vibes. But I think I'm gonna do that in December. So then if I could almost have the cover then like just ready to have my like final blurb on it, I think we could make March happen. I think we could make March happen. I would really, really like to make March happen. This is what I get for trying to put you guys over on a new angle, because I feel like all of my check-ins I do from like this side of my desk, and I'm pretty much always at my desk. But anyways, I just had like a little bit of a random thought here as I was sitting here writing, and I'm like, this doesn't really have anything to do with the writing process, but it's just something that was kind of fun that I was thinking about. So I was thinking, because music is so important to this series, and obviously like these guys are musicians. Scar, obviously in book 1, is a musician herself. And I was just thinking, I was like, if these couples were all going to go like to a concert, like who would they be going to go see? You know, because I always think like people, you know, drag their boyfriends to concerts or whatever, drag their girlfriends to concerts. And there's sometimes the people that like they don't want to see, but they're like being supportive anyways. But I'm like, who would all of these couples be going to go see in concerts together? So here's the thing with Walker and Scar. I think for sure they're going to go see Nickelback. Like they are going to go see, I think it's like the Summer of the 90s tour that's coming around that has like all of the like those like that time period rock bands together. I think they would 100% be going to that, because that would be like Walker's kind of thing. And then they'd also be going to like Tomorrowland, like because Scar would obviously want to go to raves and Walker would kind of like learn that culture. And I feel like he would really be appreciative of that culture and like rave culture. And I think that he would really fit in well with that. And I think if they went to Tomorrowland, obviously, I mean, like I'd want to say Millennium, obviously, because obvious reasons, but I feel like Scar, she's at like the drum and bass stages, you know, I think that's where she's, but she also is such a progressive house girl. I don't know. Yeah, like they'd go see Armin together and she'd like cry. So yeah, that was what they would go to see. And now Hayden and Carter for this book, I think they're going to like Sleep Token. I think they're going to go see Hosier. They're seeing Sleep Token. They're seeing Codaline. You know, they're seeing more like bands. I don't really see them seeing like any like electronic artists, obviously. That's kind of who I would picture them going to go see. They're a little bit more of like the metal alternative couple of the grouping. Book 3's couple, I obviously can't say yet, but I think you've already like seen glimpses of them a little bit in book 1. I haven't had them in book 2 yet. They'll be sprinkled in. I think they are going to go see like Harry Styles, and they are both like obsessed with him and like mutually obsessed. So I think they're like a little bit more of like the pop girlies, even though the hero in that one is definitely a pop girly and he embraces it. And then the final couple, I don't know, because honestly that final couple, it's more the heroine. I still don't have a very clear picture of who she is as a person yet. Like she's just not really chatting with me yet, and that's fine. I don't need her to for a while. So I don't know about them, but I just thought that was like a cute little thing that I wanted to include here. I don't know if anyone cares. That's cute. I like picturing them like going to concerts together. So anyways, all right, it's back to writing. It's a Sunday morning and I am just trying to get some writing done this morning. So that way this afternoon, hopefully I can like chill a little bit and relax a little bit, but we'll see what I can all get done. Oh, and happy almost Thanksgiving. So it is Wednesday, November 22nd. I am done with work for the day, which is awesome because I only have a half day because of the Thanksgiving. So I am now going to utilize the rest of my day to do some writing because I didn't do any yesterday. And honestly, like this week, I've kind of slacked a little bit, but I have hit 30,000 words, which is awesome. I am really excited about that. And I'm excited that up until this point so far, I haven't wanted to quit yet because I definitely did a lot with Walker and Scar's book. So I'm feeling good about that right now. I'm liking where Hayden and Carter are at. You know, I'm feeling okay about this one. But the other day I did my ask for like my chat, chill, and get ready with me questions. And I got one that I felt I should touch on like in here a little bit more because those videos, like obviously I talk about writing questions and then whatever, but this one was more specifically around like kind of just where do you even start? Like I'm just scared to start. Like I don't know where to start. I'd love to write a book, but I have no idea where to start. And here's the thing. I am not the one. Like I don't think I'm like super qualified to answer this question because I've only, you know, written and finished one book. But because I've only done the one, I mean, like, this is what's worked for me so far. There are a lot of people that are way more qualified to speak on this, but I mean, it came into the little question box, so I just wanted to answer, I guess, a little bit, because I don't really know if at the beginning I talked about what my process was like for Take My Hand before I started working on it. The biggest thing for me outside of writing is just spending time with the characters and in the story when I'm not sitting at my desk. So all throughout my day, I am thinking of Hayden and Carter. They're talking to me, or I'm thinking of, what I'm going to write that night. I'm thinking about what I wrote previously. I'm just kind of thinking like what seems like something that what makes sense to them. And that is a huge part before I even start writing, like when I'm making my outline. I allowed myself, Take You Down, that outlining process was a lot longer because obviously I had no kind of like deadline. I had no like timeline. Take My Hand, I knew, so I gave myself 2 weeks after Take You Down released in order for me to just outline. I had been working on the outline beforehand as well, like jotting little notes down here and there, because I got some ideas back when I was writing the first one, back before I even started writing that one at all, of little things for their story. But I'd say overall, like the big like outline from like beginning to end, I gave myself 2 weeks to do that. People don't need to do an outline at all. You might not want, like if you are thinking about writing, you might just be able to jump right in and you kind of like just flying by the seat of your pants as you're going, and like that's how you feel like creative about it. For me, it takes so much stress away from me when I sit down every single day and I know exactly what I'm supposed to be writing right then and there. Now, not every part of the scene is mapped out, so for example, this scene that I'm doing right now, that I'm in the middle of writing, currently where I'm at in the draft, I don't know if it'll stick this way, like other chapters might get added. It's chapter 13 right now. So Hayden has invited Carter over to come over and help look at some projects that he wants to do around his house, because he's really trying to make his house feel like a home now that he's going to be home more and that he's kind of in a better space mentally. He wants his like space to kind of reflect that. And Carter's dad is in construction, and she kind of like knows a little bit about some home projects, about some like flipping kind of things. So he invites her over to come over and take a look at some of that, and kind of like, again, building some more tension between the two of them, because obviously it's chapter 13. They haven't even like really touched each other yet, because that's what I do. And Nikolai also popped over here too. So I have the three of them kind of playing around in this scene, and I just knew that was the general outline of what I needed to accomplish in this scene. Was Carter coming over and then walking around and talking about some of the home projects. She needs to offer her dad's help at some point in the scene, and then he's also going to offer her a studio space to set up, because she does not have a studio space for her photography, and he's going to offer up some space in his house because he has tons of it and she just has an apartment. And those are kind of the three things that I need to accomplish in this scene, but the rest of it I get to kind of play around and fill in with, and I personally like that. I like kind of knowing the beats I need to hit in it, what I need to accomplish in it, but being able to kind of play around and have like little moments pop up here and there that like I didn't necessarily account for. So for me, that makes my process a lot easier. For someone else, it might just be jumping right in and just being like, oh, let's just see what I do now. Both, like, there is literally no wrong way to write. So like you just have to find whatever works for you. I found that that's what works for me. And even my outline, I still kind of am wondering if at the end I might need like one more kind of thing to be in there, but also at the same time, I was like not gonna hold up writing just for like me wondering, like, do I maybe need like some other little thing towards the end of the, like in the last fourth of the book. I'm like, I'm not gonna let that hold myself up. I'm just gonna keep going, because in Take You Down, if you've read that one, there was, Scar giving Walker the drumsticks to apologize. That was not in the book. Was that in the book originally? I'm trying to now remember back. Like, was that in the first draft? I think it wasn't. And that was a feedback thing that I think I got. That was a feedback thing, I think, right? That they needed some gesture, or did she? I don't know. The one gesture that I remember was not in the original draft, was in the epilogue, Walker giving Scarlet the boots. That was not, and that was a note from Cheyenne. She was like, I feel like this just feels like a little too quick at the end, and like maybe he needs to like return a gesture to her, and that I added in. Anyways, the point of that was just that like you're not going to have every single one of your like moments in this first draft. You're going to add different things. Same with and Take You Down. Scar and Carter's friendship, like them having drinks down at the bar, that like was not in the original book, and like their friendship in my head was more like developed, but it wasn't as developed on page. So then like, and I think that was added in the second draft. So there are going to be things like your outline is not like you have to stick to that word for word. It just is really helpful for me. And I do it in Google Docs. That way it has little boxes that you can like check, because that makes me feel accomplished. That's, I guess, like the general storyline. Also, do not get held up if you don't have like a title name. You don't have to have that figured out. I didn't have any of these books titled until, I want to say I didn't have Take You Down as the title until probably June of this year, which was only a few months before release. Like I genuinely didn't know what I was calling these books. And then once that one came into play, then the rest of them kind of fell into place, because then I was like, okay, they're all being named after songs, and they just all happened to have song titles on their playlist that all worked with the theme of like Take You Down, Take My Hand, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah for 3 and 4. So that, don't let that hold you up either. You will figure it out eventually. I also didn't know what name I was going to publish it on under. Again, that doesn't matter. You need to actually have a book in order to publish something under. And the other thing that I would say, I personally do not let myself read back anything as I am going. But there are exceptions to that. Like right now with chapter 13, I've written the beginning part of this chapter and the end part of the chapter. I haven't finished the middle yet because I was patchworking while writing. I really like patchworking. That's what I call when I write scenes that are not in chronological order yet. So then like I'm writing to get to them, and then like I'll like stitch them in. You know, you have to fix them a little bit, but then you like stitch them in and then you keep going. So I did that with this one, because after Carter leaves at the end of the scene, Hayden and Nikolai have a conversation. So I already wrote that because that was just kind of like flowing. And then I jumped back to the beginning here. So with the exception, I will obviously reread at least part of what I've written at the beginning of this chapter already, so I don't repeat myself and I kind of remember where I left off. But other than that, I do not allow myself to edit whatsoever as I am writing, because otherwise I will never finish this book. I really shot myself in the foot with Take You Down by doing that, so much so to the point where I hated the beginning, like 3 or 4 chapters of that book. And I still don't like those chapters, because every single time I sat down, I would read from the beginning. And it's like, first of all, you're wasting so much time. And second, then you're going to end up hating the shit that you wrote already if you just keep reading it and keep like trying to edit it. It's just, it's going to drive you crazy. There will be time to edit, but the time is not during your first draft, because you need to have something to actually edit. I know a lot of people like doing writing sprints. I don't necessarily like that, or like hitting a certain word count. I guess I am kind of a little more mindful of hitting a certain word count every day right now, because I'm really trying to be done with this first draft by December 31st. So I was kind of like, if I write like 2,000 words a day, I can get there. Where like today, obviously, so I missed 2 days this week. So technically today I should probably write like 6,000 words. We'll see. Sometimes it flows easier than others. And yes, I try to make myself write every single day. I'm writing for a while and it's just still like not working. Then I just step away from it. What am I at right now? I'm at 111 pages. This week I've gone back and forth a little bit on feeling like really good about this book. And then also like just kind of already anticipating, I don't know, not like people not liking it, but I don't think I realized that like how unpopular rockstar romances are until I've seen so many people say like, oh, or like message me or like make posts on Instagram of being like, I normally don't like rockstar romances, but I read this one and I enjoyed it. And I'm like, do really not that many people like rockstar romances? So I'm like I'm really giving a second one back to back. But it's what I love, and I love these stories, so it is what it is. If I was trying to write something that everyone else wanted, it would feel so fucking fake. Like, I think a lot of people still are expecting me to write some, like, taboo, age gap, out-of-pocket, forbidden shit. And one day, I would love to. I just don't have that story right now. So, anyways, this was really long. Who knows how much of this will make it into the video. I'm gonna get writing. So we will see how much I can get done today. Okay, I just finished writing for the night. It is, November 24th. It's Black Friday today, day after Thanksgiving. I'm actually pretty proud of myself. I didn't really spend much money. But one thing that I wanted to include here, mostly because the chapter that I'm writing tonight is the scene that I've been like the most excited to write in my outline. And honestly, I could keep going tonight, but I'm just like tired. And because I've been looking forward to writing this whole scene, I'm like, I need to like just give myself the time tomorrow to do it, because I have nothing to do tomorrow except for write all day. And this will make it into the final draft for sure, and it's the photo shoot scene between Carter and Hayden. This isn't like a spoiler or anything, but obviously like she's a photographer and he offers to do a photo shoot for her, and this is something that I've seen play out in my head, and like it's just such like a fun scene and like a hot scene. I mean, it's not like them hooking up for the first time. Like, of course, I'm a slow burn girl. Like, I'm gonna make you guys work for it a little bit more. Like, we're only in chapter 15 here. It's just like, I can just picture him so clearly doing this photo shoot scene with like mirrors and like cutting his tongue on a shard of mirror and like the blood dripping down his hand. Oh my god, I'm so excited for it. But anyways, I have not read like any Goodreads reviews at all of Take You Down, because like it's not my space. It's not any, honestly, of like my business. Like I can't control anything, and I'm obviously not gonna ever engage with any of it, so it's like I don't read them. I'm just still too much of like a little baby author in this world to like have that kind of skin that I want to actually read reviews. However, I know that there are probably things in there that I could like use. And I did actually see a review on Amazon, because I was on there for something, like searching, then I was like, let me like look up and just see how many Amazon reviews I have. And actually it was like a 4-star review. It was still a good review, but they just said in there, they're like, Scar and Walker didn't have enough interactions for me, like in the beginning. I don't disagree. Like not in a way, like obviously they interact with each other because like that's their story, but that book, like it just had to move a lot slower because they were strangers, like they didn't know each other, and Scar was a very closed off person, and like their book just moved a lot slower. And honestly, if I were to like be publishing that one now, I would like include more just like random scenes of the two of them just like doing like little things together here and there, or like maybe even like texting more, just something like more. Like I don't disagree that honestly I don't think they interact like as much as I think now I would maybe be capable of doing between the two of them. And that's something that I'm kind of mindful of with Hayden and Carter, is that already, so I mean at chapter 15, like we're 15 chapters in, but they've already had like a lot of interaction between the two of them. And I just kind of realized I do think that it moves quicker. Like the romance is still a slow burn, but the two of them together as a whole, they're already talking to each other a lot more than Walker and Scar were. And not that it's a bad thing, not that I like look back and Take You Down and I'm like, I don't like it, but it's more that it's something that like, oh yeah, you know, like I do realize that, like after they said that, like that is true, and that's something that I'm mindful of with these two. And thinking ahead, like I don't think that that's going to be a problem for book 3's characters as well. I'm obviously not going to say anything about who book 3 is yet, but like they know each other, so it's like that's going to be fine. It's not Reed and Nikolai, if that just feel like I should put that out there. I'm really sorry, guys. It's not. I think I'm just really excited about a lot of the interactions that Hayden and Carter have had already, and I just feel like I have them in a good place right now. Dorian would, in fact, like co-author credits for this next book, because he is working very hard, and then whenever I try to type, if I reach forward, he has been reaching up his little paw then to grab my hand back to keep petting him. This isn't gonna work if you don't let me stop petting you. We must be productive. I just wanted to give a quick update because it is Wednesday. No, why was I gonna say it's Wednesday? It's literally Sunday, November 26th, not far after since I made the last one. I feel like I've made way more check-ins for this video than I ever did for the first one, maybe because I'm like doing better at this whole thing, I guess. I just want to do a quick check-in here because I got my sample edit back today from my editor, who I'm going to be using for this book. She proofread the first one, but this time I'm actually able to like afford like more editing on it, so she's going to be doing that. So I just got my sample edit back from her, which I sent her a scene that I don't really like because it had to be like about 2,000 words, and like I realized that I guess a lot of my scenes are kind of long, so I sent her one, which I'm sure it'll make it in, but it's the scene where Carter and her dad are getting, this isn't spoilers, obviously I'm not going to spoil anything in this, but Carter and her dad are getting lunch after they book her apartment, and she runs into Hayden there. And he kind of like blows her off a little bit. And I don't know, I just like, I don't love the scene. It's fine. Like, it kind of serves the purpose. Get better by the time that you guys are seeing this video and reading it. But I just didn't love it. And then like looking at her edits on it, I was like, oh, I don't hate it as much anymore. Like, she's condensed it a lot. She took out some of the, like, I can tend to be a little bit, not like fluffy, but I just liked what she did with it. So I'm looking forward to having her working on this book. So I'm at like close to 40,000 with my stitched in scenes. I'm probably right around 40,000 words. So I'm like a little under halfway there. I'm estimating it to be about 100,000 words. That's similar to Take You Down. I don't know. Take You Down ended up being a little bit less after editing because, like I said, I'm a little bit of a wordy bitch. It ended up being less. I think it ended up being like in the 99s. But so I'm hoping to finish first draft by December 31st, or like on December 31st, and then take January for me to do like my first round of edits, which are always my biggest round of edits, and then turn that into her like February 2nd, and then we do 2 rounds of copy editing and proofreading, I think, and then it's done. And then, so that's why I'm thinking March 25th. Who knows? Maybe it could end up being done early. That is fucking bold of me to say when I was just like, oh, I'm kind of nervous. 4 months away. I don't know. I'm just feeling good about this one. I'm just feeling better about it. I don't know. And she even said that she was like, your writing style has improved already from the first book. And I feel like it has. Like, when I'm writing, I'm not hating most of it. I'm only hating some of it. I don't know, like, that just felt kind of nice to hear. And this is not me trying to be like, woe is me, because I very much understand the fact that it's like, I don't have like children. I don't have like a lot of other responsibilities outside of like working and my cats, obviously. But I remember Jess from Honest Fiction, she did a book haul and she got Take You Down with once again, Jess, if you're watching this, thank you so much for supporting. And she had said in that video, she's like, I don't know how she did it, like working full-time job, doing YouTube and writing a book. And honestly, it's starting to get a little, like, it's just a lot, you know, doing, like, even just working full-time and doing YouTube is like, that I felt like was a pretty big time commitment. But now writing too, because it's not just writing then, like, it's like having to market it. And it's like, I'm not good at that and I don't like doing that. But as an indie author, you like have to do the marketing yourself. But I don't like it, but I also don't have the money to spend for someone else to help me out with it. Like, I'm nowhere near that point where I could ever hire someone to like do my social media, but I don't like doing that. I should be doing a better job of it, honestly, but I don't, but it just kind of feels like a lot. So if at the end of the day, it comes down to obviously me working full-time, doing YouTube, writing, and then like marketing's kind of falling by the wayside right now. So I don't know. There will come a time when I will be better at trying to market. Out of the desk for a hot second. I feel like I make all of my check-ins from there. Snap a few of those closed, so it's not scandalous. But today is Wednesday, November, what is it, like 29th or something? And I just wanted to make a quick update here as I dump out the remaining of my coffee because I never finish it. I don't know what it is. I will never probably ever finish like a coffee in my life. But anyways, I just needed to make a quick update because I got my contract signed this morning and submitted for editing. I'm now officially locked into an editing date, which is kind of scary. It's kind of scary because especially like reading over the contract, like I had to pay my deposit and everything, and it's just like it's like this is my deadline is January 25th, so that is pretty scary. You know, I work good with a deadline. I've said this before, and I think I said it in the Take You Down vlog. I do work well with a deadline because even though I love kind of being able to have like a fluid schedule, I also like knowing when I need to have something done by. Like, I work well under pressure like that. I always did in school too. I was a big procrastinator in college. Like, I always put my essays off until the last like day to do them. I can't do that with this, obviously, but I'm locked and loaded with it. I'm really anxious about it, but I'm excited. So it's less than 2 months away. So I got a lot of writing to do. So obviously I got to finish up work today. So I'll get into writing tonight and just keep chugging away. I do have some PTO coming up though that I'm planning on just kind of using to write a lot. So we will see. I'm just really hoping that I don't get sick now over the next like couple of months, because there's a bad cold going around and I'm really scared to like get it. I need to go get my flu shot actually. I should probably try to schedule that. But anyways, that's my update for today. Commence panic. Okay, just a quick little update here because it is officially the end of the month. It is Thursday, November 30th, and I just finished writing for the night. And I wanted to start adding on to my calendar like where my word count is. Just like while I'm in the drafting phase, I'm just kind of curious to know, I guess, like how many words I write a month. So currently what I'm going to end November with is 46,518 words. Like I said, I'm anticipating around 100,000. However, I was looking through my outline and I'm more than halfway through my outline. So we'll see. But I feel like some of the stuff towards the end of the book, I just kind of have like a little more like generalized, like this is what needs to happen. I feel like it's going to require a little bit more than maybe like than just what it looks like on my outline. But I was looking back because in October was when I started writing, but I didn't actually start writing. Like I had obviously a few patchwork scenes, but I didn't actually start writing until Sunday, October 22nd. So, and including days that I missed that month and including days now, I think I've maybe only been writing for like around 30, like pretty much around a month total in days, which is pretty crazy. This is like so much faster, I feel like, than when I wrote Take You Down. I'd have to go back on the vlog, or honestly, I could pull my calendar back up. But I want to say I finished my draft right before my work trip to Boston, which was, that was August like 9th or like August 7th. And I had started writing, I think back in like March or April. What, let's say April, May, June, July, August. So about probably like 4.5 months. And now this one I think is really just going to take me about like 2 total. That's wild. That's wild. I've been telling you guys that this one is just flowing. And like, I feel like that's just proof of it. Look at this boy. He just climbed up here. He's a good worker. You want to help write today. So it is Saturday, December 9th. So what am I at? Word count wise, I am currently at 63,159 words. And I think, what chapter is this? I'm on chapter 23 or 24. So I'm actually starting to think that this book is going to be longer. Like I was kind of already anticipating that it would be longer. But I definitely think so right now where I'm at in my outline. I don't think it's going to be much. I'm thinking now maybe like 110. Still, it's not gonna be like a long ass book, you know, because Take You Down was pretty short, honestly. And like I've heard that from a couple of people. They were like, I wish it was longer, which I'm like, I feel like that's rare. You don't often hear people saying that like they wish a book was longer. The main thing that I wanted to update on today was, first of all, I've had the busiest fucking week and I have a really busy week ahead of me, and I've just been feeling stressed and like very burnt out. But through all of that, I still have been keeping track. There's only been one day so far in December that I haven't written anything. And that was on a Sunday when my best friend got engaged and her boyfriend ended up arranging this whole like surprise party a couple of hours north that I had to drive to and go to. Not had to, that I got to go to. But that was the only day that I haven't written in December. So I'm feeling really proud of myself that like even in times I haven't been wanting to write, I definitely haven't been writing as much as I've wanted to, but at least I've still like chipped away at something each day. But the main thing that I wanted to kind of update on about, because I know some people are curious like about like outlining versus just like pantsing and just kind of like how to get started or whatever. So I love my outline. You guys know this. Also, do I need like lighting? But this is the first time that I've actually swapped around the order of scenes, because in the book there is this like confrontation kind of like reveal thing that happens. I'm obviously not going to say what it is because I don't want to spoil anything. You'll know it when you read it. Okay, you leaving me? Okay, but oh, there's a bird on the railing out there. Dorian's got to go investigate. We had like a hawk on our railing. It was the biggest bird I'd like ever seen. Big reveal scene happened, and so that is all happening through Carter's POV. And then I had like the next chapter to be Hayden's POV of the two of them talking about it. And then the next chapter was going to be back into Carter's POV, and it was going to be her and Scar kind of talking about it and digesting it. And I liked that order originally because I kind of felt like I wanted her and Hayden, like for her to share the things that happened with him first. I liked the idea of that. However, it almost then, as I've been thinking about it, and like as I wrote that club scene with everything that went down, I'm like, they need a bit of space. They have like, there's been a lot of like progression within their relationship over the past like 15 chapters that I've written. And I just feel like I needed a little bit of space between the two of them, and also a little bit of time for them to like process separately. So instead now I have a different Hayden POV right after, but like instead with like the band kind of like regrouping with Arun and kind of like what their strategy is going to be for things moving forward. Cause like the band's having like a lot of, stuff going on as well. And then the next chapter, I'm going to have Carter and Scar talking. So I just had to like rework that. And then it's going to be her and Hayden finally talking about this afterwards. I was hesitant to move it around mostly because I had this like vision of this scene like coming fresh off of it. But I think they almost like need that cool down a little bit. So I've reworked kind of like what I'm planning on doing in like the conversation with Carter and Scar. I didn't realize, I guess, that their names that's not that similar. Anyways, their conversation, I think, isn't going to necessarily go like as deep into the details as I was kind of planning on it, but instead of more just kind of being like general like friend support, kind of like showing like just women showing up for each other. And then she can still kind of like have all of that, like reveal all of that stuff to Hayden and like dive in deeper with him afterwards. So I just mostly wanted to include this, that it's like, even if you have an outline, that doesn't mean that you have to stick to it as you're going. Like, you're gonna find that maybe scenes don't make sense. And like, there's another scene that was like kind of, I think, a little bit farther up that now I've pushed back a little bit. You're gonna find that like, as you're writing and as you're kind of like figuring things out, because obviously your outline is just kind of like a basis for the story. Like, there's things that like start popping up that you just like write as you go, but it's not like the end all be all. You don't have to exactly follow what you wrote down. And actually, I went back, and this is the first time I've done this with this specific book. I did this with Take You Down. I think there ended up being 3 chapters in the very, very early days of that book. Like, they didn't even make it into the first draft, but they were in the first draft. And before I even finished, they were deleted and cut because I like didn't like them. They weren't working, whatever. And I haven't had that with any of these, but actually this is the first time with this book I had to go back chapters and chapters and chapters ago, because I kind of got stuck in a scene, and I just kind of like wrote out what I needed to happen, but I'm moving on and keeping things rolling. Then I went back and I revisited it, and I took out a large chunk of that scene and kind of like reworked it a little bit. And I'm still not even sure if I'm entirely happy with that scene. It's kind of hard because now like that was farther back, like right at the beginning kind of like of them getting into like things. And now they're like in the thick of things. So I don't really know if it's going to make sense. But again, that's something that it's like, at least that scene is there. At least what I kind of needed to accomplish is in there. And then on my read through and on edits, then I can like tweak it as needed. Now I'm just really at the point where it's just like all about getting things out there and onto paper. And I'm feeling really good about that, and still feeling good. I'm still like getting kind of worried about being done by like my deadline and everything, but I'm at least feeling really good about like where the story is going. Every single day I'm just excited to sit down and write. And the fact that still to this point, 63,000 words in, that I haven't hit a block yet is scary to me, because I'm like waiting for it, honestly, but it hasn't happened yet. Like, I had so many blocks with the first book, which I think too, that was probably like the fact that I've never written a book before and like just questioning a lot of that. And I mean, there's still like a lot of like doubt and everything with this one, but I still haven't hit a block yet. And that's kind of crazy. So I'm just still enjoying riding this high of being excited every day to sit down and write, because I haven't started dreading it yet, like I did sometimes with Take You Down at certain points. Oh, and also, I guess, other update quickly, I talked to my cover designer. We've already been going back and forth and being like, when are we gonna do the next one? And finally I emailed her and I was like, so, because with this one, last time it was a surprise reveal, so I didn't need a cover reveal, I didn't need arcs, I didn't need any of that. Like, I literally just needed the cover basically in time to like publish the book. Where this time I'm going to do a cover reveal, I'm going to do arcs, so I need it like a little bit earlier. So I kind of want it done by the end of February, because I kind of mapped out March, because March is release month, and I kind of mapped out like cover reveal timeline, arc timeline, that kind of stuff. So with that, I reached out to her and I sent her over everything that I wanted for this cover. So I guess now let me actually share a little bit what my vision kind of is for this one. I want it to be similar. I want it to look cohesive. I'll put a picture of Take You Down in here. So I love like the guy in the background and then the smaller guy in the middle. So I kind of am thinking like of keeping that similar, same font, same like that, keeping the same. I love like the music notes and the texture, so I'm hoping to maybe keep that the same. I did send through a couple of like deposit stock photos of some cover models that I thought kind of like fit Hayden's vibe like the best. I mean, obviously no one like can perfectly match who Hayden is in my head, so it's all about finding the closest thing. Like same with Walker, like the guy in the middle of Take You Down is not like who I picture as Walker in my head, but he's like the closest that I could find. And then red and orange, I was like over and over, and I'm like, it needs to be red and orange, it needs to be red and orange. That's these two characters' colors. So I'm hoping to have like where the green is on Take You Down to have that be red, and then where the purple is have that be orange. And then also just for some like little other details if she needed, I was like, Carter's a photographer, so maybe like a camera or something, and then some little butterflies, maybe some little accent details, which you'll like kind of see the resemblance of that, I guess, when you read the book. I don't have the blurb yet. That's the other thing. I was like, can you at least start mocking it without the blurb? I'm thinking, I hate writing the blurb. I hate that. I hated writing it for Take You Down. I'm dreading writing it for this. I don't know. I don't know. That's not fun to me. That's really not fun to me. It was same with like writing my author bio. Like that's not fun. I don't want to do that. And I don't want to write this blurb. I just want someone else to read it and write the blurb for me. But that's not going to happen. So I got to do it at some point, but at least I'm like kind of spaced for similar spacing to Take You Down on the back of it. So anyways, really excited and can't wait to see what she comes up with, because I just like, I'm still so in love with Take You Down's cover, and I'm really excited to then see this one. So this morning I've hit not a block, it's not a full block, and I was just like the other day, like knock on wood, I haven't hit a block yet, but this scene is just like, I don't know. It's one that there's a lot going on. There's a lot of like heightened emotions in it right now in the current draft. It's chapter 27. I don't know if that will remain the same, but it is after this like kind of like reveal has happened out at a club, and like it's Hayden and Carter's first time seeing each other kind of in the aftermath of it all. She's running high with a lot of emotion. He's running high, or kind of like reacting to her like emotions, and then also being like hurt by some of the stuff that she's saying, and like trying to remain logical in this situation. I don't know. It's just, and like they're both kind of like, this is the first time that they're ever like hurting each other, not intentionally, but it's just kind of the first time that they have not kind of been on the same page in an argument, or like not been able to just kind of like resolve it calmly, I guess, which is fun. But I just feel like there's so much that is kind of like led up to this moment here. And I don't know, I'm just kind of like struggling with it a little bit. I don't know, and it's a scene that I've been like so anticipating writing, and that I have patchwork moments for it done already that I wrote like literally 2 years ago. So there's parts of it that I just kind of figured that this scene would just like flow. I really thought that I would just get into it and I would just be feeling it, and I would just be like da 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 da. It was truly just a scene that I thought would be like easy. Not easy in terms of like the content matter and everything in it, but just easy that I thought that it would just like really flow well. And it's just not, like it's just not coming easy. I feel like I'm jumping around in like dialogue, like I'm having an idea for like this little tangent, writing that out like 3 sentences, and then like jumping back up, and I don't know. So I'm almost wondering if I just need to call it today. I feel like I can't do that though, because I feel like I need to write more today. You know, deadline's coming up. January 1st is rapidly approaching. But I don't know, it's not flowing today. And also I feel like I can't jump ahead to like the next scenes because I really need to like feel like this is like that they have overcome this, and like they're going to say I love you in this scene too, which is why I feel like I need to hit that moment before I move on. It's just not flowing. It's not flowing today, guys, and I don't know how to feel about it. Well, I do know how to feel about it. I'm frustrated with myself. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll get some more writing in tonight. Maybe I have to revisit it today. I just feel like I have to push through it. I don't know. This scene just isn't going how I thought it was going to go. And it's not a scene that I can scrap. It has to happen. And I don't want to scrap it. It's just not flowing like how I thought it would. And this is why we keep pushing. Also, I'm gross. Just leave it. This is why we keep pushing through when we're having blocks, because I, first of all, have like basically completed this scene now and I'm really happy with it. But two, also, I'm writing. Okay, I need to take what I need. Oh, I almost just said the next book titles. Oh, well, take what you want. That's the next book. I need to pull up this outline because I was writing Hayden saying I love you to Carter, and then I was like, no, this doesn't feel right. And I'm like, no, these are Nikolai's words. And I just, this is how the patchworking works. I just had to pull this up live time. This is how the patchworking works. I've never had this really happen before, where I'm writing like a piece of dialogue and then I'm like, wait, that's not their words, that's Nikolai's words. And it is Nikolai's words. These are for him. These are not for Hayden and Carter. These are Nikolai's. This is Nikolai's I love you. And I need to at least get this down in here. But I just had that moment. And that's the thing where it's like some of this stuff I obviously don't have planned out how like anyone's going to like say I love you or any of that, but like that is just stuff that will come. And like I knew that I wanted them to say I love you either in this scene or the next scene, and it's natural, like it's come to the right point. But then as I was saying it, I'm like, that's not his words, because they have a shared traumatic experience together. Hayden and Nikolai obviously living through this shooting that they both lived through at their brother's graduation. And Nikolai is very much like, he tells Hayden earlier on in this book that he's like, when Hayden says something about like timing, and he's like, fuck timing. Like we literally saw people die and seen how things can change in a blink of an eye and how like short life is. And Nikolai's very impulsive. He's very like, you'll see it in his book, kind of already seen it already, but that's just how he is. And he's very much like, screw the timing, that kind of thing. And like Hayden started kind of saying that. And then I'm like, wait, this isn't like a moment for him to like recall back and like maybe Nikolai's words sunk into him. Like, no, this is like Nikolai's I love you. This is his like, I'm not going to wait for the right timing. And especially just when you know who his woman is, they have such a long history. Their book is going to be Second Chance, spoiler alert. And it's like, he's just like over all the bullshit, over all the years that they wasted, over all the time that they wasted. And like, he's not having it anymore by the time that his I love you will roll around. And like, that's all of that is what he's like saying right here. And that's what Hayden was kind of saying, but it's not Hayden's to say. So anyways, I just wanted to pull this up, patchwork in real time. That's how that happens. Sometimes, the scenes happen earlier. Sometimes they happen literally as I'm writing the other book, and this is for book 3 to happen. So anyways, I don't even know if this clip is going to like make sense. Who even knows if I'll end up keeping it in, but I just wanted to capture it in live time. Oh, okay. So what is today? It is Friday, December 15th. I am officially done with work. I only work half days on Fridays. Officially done with work, and I'm getting some writing done. And I'm writing this one scene. So currently right now where it is in the draft, it's chapter 29 and chapter 30. It's this big like dinner party scene. I literally made like a little diagram of like where everyone is sitting, so that way like I could kind of keep track of like a visual reference, because as you can see here, so there's 7 people at this dinner. So we got Walker and Scar at the top there, and then we got Jane, Walker's twin, sitting next to him, and then we got Reed, then we got Nikolai, and then we got Hayden and Carter, because let's see, Reed can't sit by Scar, can't sit by Walker, can't sit by Hayden, so Jane and Nikolai have to serve as the buffers of this group. Anyways, this dinner is basically trying to serve as being like some like a last ditch effort at resolution for all of them. And I mean, you'll have to read to see if, you know, that works for them or not. Where am I at? So technically I have 15 days now left to finish this book. I am at 80,124 words. I was starting to be like, because I was kind of looking at 100K as being my limit, but it's like, I don't need to limit myself. I'm like, oh, maybe I need to be like moving these scenes a little bit faster. But it's like, no, just for what? The sake of like word count? Take You Down was short, honestly. Take You Down is not a long book. I think it's like 300 and something pages. That's not very long. So I'm like, stop. So in my head, I had to kind of get over that yesterday when I was writing this dinner scene, because I was like, oh, am I dragging this out too long? And I'm like, no, this is an important scene, and the scenes that I have coming up are also important. And just because I think I'm gonna be over 100,000 words isn't like a bad thing. Like, there's no like limit. It's just that's what I had told Z that my project would probably be. So she's probably gonna be like, girl, what are you doing? But anyways, I think it's gonna be a little longer. I think I have about like 8.5 scenes kind of left, or like beats to kind of hit. So I think that 30,000 is probably pretty close to that, because we're really nearing the end here. I just started chapter 30, and again, Take You Down was 40 chapters, and I'm anticipating that this one will be around maybe 45. So we're really nearing the end here. I'm feeling good about my deadline. I only have 2 more days left of work until I'm on PTO through the rest of the year. And I'm taking that time specifically so that way I can just like write and like get this done. So I'm feeling good about it. Aria would like to help with this check-in because she's been yelling, and she's the one who actually decided you're done for the day, which, to be fair, I was literally typing up like the last paragraph in this scene. I was just kind of like rounding it out, and Aria came in my bedroom and she was like, Mom, get the fuck off the computer and get me a treat, which, like, fair enough. So today is Wednesday, December 20th. It was my first full day of PTO. Today I wrote about 5,000 words. I think I wrote like 5,100 words. So I'm feeling good about that. Honestly, my word count, what is my word count at now? It's at 93,938. I pretty much have this final kind of scene, Hayden and Nikolai going out for a drink that I started and that I have to write. And then I have this one final scene that I'm going to tell part of it from Hayden's POV, part of it from Scar's POV, or not Scar, wrong book, Carter's POV. And then we got one final shebang, the kind of culmination of something happening in a scene, and then the epilogue. So I got like 6 scenes basically to write left, which is crazy. We are really getting close here. But with that said, I'm just kind of sad that I'm nearing the end here. I know obviously it's not the end, because this is like just the beginning of the like work with them, but it's like the end of the drafting phase, you know, whatever I add, whatever I tweak, whatever I do, whatever with, it's just not gonna be the same as just sitting down every day and getting to write them. This has been such a better writing experience than it was with Take You Down. I've said it before probably a bunch of times in this vlog. By the time that I'm editing this, I'm probably gonna be like, shut the fuck up about that. But it just has. It's been so much easier. And I don't know. I'm just hoping that this energy continues because as soon as I get this book off to Z to edit on January 25th, I already have my brain ready to jump into drafting a standalone for the summer. So even though book 3's couple is really just like, they're really prominent in my head, but I want to get a book in between book 2 and 3 for this series. So anyways, that is my update, that I'm just feeling things are going good. Say hi to Dorian. And Aria's back there on my bed. She's on my pile of laundry that I'm waiting to do until she's done. But so I thought that my next update would actually be when I was done, but I'm just sitting here. I think I'm done for the evening. Today it is Thursday, December 21st. I officially have 5 chapters left, so I think I have like 5 days of writing left, maybe 4, because I think the next 2 scenes that I write, I will probably write them together. And then, honestly, the epilogue and the Hayden's final chapter, because the epilogue is going to be in Carter's POV. So then the final chapter is in Hayden's POV. And honestly, I think that might be a fairly quick chapter as well. I was just looking back, because I'm like, how, because this book has felt fast for me to write. And I was like, let me look back, because I do keep track on this Canva calendar that I think I've showed you guys. So I started outlining. Granted, this story has been in my head for way longer. So like the outlining process for this one was pretty fast, but I started specifically getting my head into the game for this book when Take You Down released. I took that day, Monday the 16th, like I didn't do anything. And then immediately the next day I started building this outline, which I already had like a couple of scenes, but then it was like putting them in the right order and fleshing out the rest of the story. And I did that for an entire week. And then I started writing on, when did I start writing? I started writing on October 22nd. And so I'm gonna have basically finished this book in about 2 months. That's not including the days that I didn't end up writing. This month I only didn't write for one day, but there were some days back in November that I didn't write anything. Actually, there were a lot. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days in November. I wrote this book so fucking quickly compared to Take You Down. And I don't know what it is. Like I said, it's been a very, very, very easy writing process for me with this book. And I don't know why, but I'm not going to question it. I've just been enjoying the ride of it because it's been very fun. But with that said, I was starting to think, because I was looking ahead at, so I am going to release this one on March 25th. But I would think, so I start editing, or I send it to my editor on January 25th, so 2 months before release date. Then I feel like I can already get started on the summer book. So actually, I just kind of realized that like, oh shit, I actually think I could pull it off if like the story's there. I haven't really been letting my head get like in with those two characters quite yet, because I just still, like, at least in the drafting phase of this one, I'm like, I really need to like just push everyone else out and just have the two of them in there. Hayden and Carter are it's almost time for them to check out, even though I'm really fucking sad about it. And this is the first time that I feel like I finally just realized that like I actually could, if I write kind of on the same timeline that I did here, I think I could make that actually happen. And that's with me still like working full-time and everything. I'm sure like if I didn't work full-time, like even these past couple of days when I've been off of work, I'm like, look at how fast I can write. Granted, I love having my full-time job, don't get me wrong, because it pays my bills, it gives me my benefits, you know, I like the structure. But I just realized that, you know, like I actually can write like pretty quick when I'm like down into it. Crazy, but this pace has worked for this book. It didn't work for Walker and Scars, but we'll see. Maybe it'll work for the next two up on deck. Ignore the fact that I look like an egg because my hair is very dirty, but I haven't had anywhere to go, so I haven't washed it. I haven't cried so far writing this book. I cried a little bit writing Take You Down, but I just wrote chapter, what is this chapter right now? I mean, granted, that's subject to change in the final format, but chapter 37. I just cried writing. It's a scene with all four of the guys. And it had to happen. It had to happen. But that was one where it was like front to back writing that scene. I was just in it. I didn't look at the time. I didn't check my word count. I didn't check my phone. I didn't look at anything. I just wrote that scene. I know I'm towards the end of this book and I'm very excited to be done, but I'm also just really fucking sad about it because I don't want it to end. Say hi, Aria. I could cry. I love you literally so much. I would do anything for you. I hope you know that. Yes, part of this is because I just finished writing the epilogue, and the other part of it is because I am very quickly going downhill here. So it is Wednesday, December 27th, right? It's Wednesday, December 27th. I just typed the end for the second time this year, and it feels really fucking good. And also very sad to be, I mean, obviously this is not the end of my time with Hayden and Carter. I still have edits. The hard part I feel like is ahead of me. I don't like editing as much as I like drafting, I think. I'm finally getting sick. I have been ducking and dodging colds for I feel like the past like month. Everyone at work has been sick, and then people in my family have been sick, and then I was around a lot of family members for Christmas, and one of my nephews like sneezed in my face. He's a baby, okay, like he's fine. We have no beef about it. But as soon as he did that, I was like, just please don't let me get sick before I finish this book. I'm like, I can get sick anytime after I finish this book. And then today as I was writing, I had the last 2 chapters and the epilogue to do. I knocked out chapter 39 this morning, and then I was like still feeling really motivated, so I knocked out chapter 40 this afternoon, and then tonight I was like, I only have the epilogue. And as I started to feel sick, I was like, shit, if I get sick tomorrow, like I don't want to just have the epilogue hanging over me. So I did finish it. I don't really plan, like it's not a long epilogue. Take You Down didn't have a long epilogue. Like none of my books are ever gonna have long epilogues because I don't fucking like them. So like it'll just be, and it's not gonna be like a jump in the future. It's literally, I think, like what, so the book wrapped up in September. I'm kind of budgeting this around like January timeline, that like this is when the epilogue takes place. And it was just quick, but it was really sweet. And I just love the 2 of them so much. And I would literally just write like so many more books about them. And so my final word count came in at about 106,000 words. I'm definitely going to see what happens in editing. I mean, a lot of that is going to be pulled out in the editing process with Z, my actual editor. Are you picking on your sister? He is. He's going under the guise probably of giving her a bath. But there, see, he's going to like... Oh, nice, Bubby. See, it always starts out like that. And then he starts trying to play because he wants her spot, or he wants to play with her and she doesn't want to play. Watch, if he curls up in her spot right now. Obviously, a lot of that word count is going to get pared down with Z because she, you know, she slashes out, not in a bad way, she slashes out a lot of unnecessary shit that I have in there. So that will be taken down. So we'll see like in my edits and like my read throughs if I add anything, but I'm ready to go to bed. I'm also feeling really good because I more than met my deadline. My deadline was January 1st. I wanted to have my draft done and it's officially done tonight. So that is awesome. How many days early is that? Like 5 days early? That's insane. Anyways, I'm gonna go to bed and sleep and relish in the feeling of typing the end again. So today is Tuesday, January 2nd. It was my first day back at work, so I'm wrapped up now and I'm excited to get back into Take My Hand. I'm doing my first read through. I'm having a lot of mixed feelings today. I don't know, I woke up kind of in my head about it this morning. There are certain parts of the book that I really like and there are certain parts of it that I don't. And once again, I feel like I'm hitting that block of being like, why are you doing this? Like, who do you think you are? Kind of thing. I haven't hit that throughout the writing process, but now that I'm reading it back, I've definitely hit that now. And I don't know, I'm just kind of getting in my head once again. There are certain scenes that I see improvement in, and there are certain scenes that I don't know. I feel like something's missing, but I don't necessarily know like what that is. So I'm looking forward to getting feedback from people and kind of seeing what they think, if they're noticing the same things that I am, and like if they can kind of like articulate what's missing, because I'm almost at the point where, again, it's kind of hard for me to pinpoint certain things that I almost like need someone else to kind of pinpoint that, who is not as like in the story as I am. We'll see. I'm getting towards the end of the book. I think I'm like 72% in, but I'm feeling really good. I gave all of the people reading it the deadline of January 8th to get their feedback to me, so that way I have a few weeks to then incorporate all that feedback. I have my own, so I've been tracking like timeline to make sure the timeline's matching up right, because I kind of have an issue with that when I'm writing of not totally keeping track of like timeline. And then also like what I want to fix in it. So, and like a big stuff, like go back in and add, delete, that kind of thing, where then it'll be like specifically line editing. Like there are certain things that I'm like, I need to rephrase that. I can take like certain words out, you know, switch some words around, whatever. But that'll all be on my second read through, that I will do after I add all the big stuff in. Anyways, I feel like I needed to add in this part of me kind of like feeling bad this today, because I feel like so far in this video it's been pretty positive, and like it's not a entirely positive journey. Like I've finally kind of hit that, I mean, at least I didn't hit writer's block, but I am hitting that self-doubt block right now. Okay, so it is January 8th. The evening, it's a Monday, and it's a Monday. It's been a fucking Monday, and it's a Monday night. But I just got the last of my feedback from my alpha readers, beta readers, I don't know. the people that I had reading it for me to give me feedback, kind of like overall story, characters, pacing, that kind of stuff. So I'm just working on incorporating it into my outline. And this is why it's helpful to have multiple people doing this, because this last round of notes that came to me had stuff that the other two did not. The other two were like fairly similar in feedback, which is like a good thing because obviously we're picking up on the same things. But still to this point, I was thinking, I don't think I need to add any brand new chapters in. You know, I had my outline done, or like I had the rest of my notes to go through. I didn't think I really needed to put in any new scenes. And now I'm thinking maybe I do. If I do, it'll be between chapters 12 and 13. So, I mean, whenever you read the book, if you read the book, then you would, during that part, because I currently have a scene where like they're texting and he invites her over to come over and look at his house at some projects. Again, this isn't gonna like spoil anything. And they have this like texting kind of exchange while she's editing some photos. And then in chapter 13, so that's chapter 12, and then chapter 13 is her going over to his house and they're doing this tour and kind of this setup thing. So I didn't have anything between that. But it was pointed out to me by one of the people about, because Nikolai is present for one of the scenes, and they were like, maybe take Nikolai out, but like, I don't want to take Nikolai out. I really like him being in that scene. I think the conversation towards the end of it anchors it well. So, and I tried to like run it over my head, like how I could adjust it to have him out of that scene. And I don't know how, I don't feel like I can make it work in the same way without him there, or like taking him out of it. But with that feedback on top of, then one of the other feedbacks is that by like chapter 16, when things kind of like really ramp up between them, that they haven't had a whole lot of time when it's been just the two of them, because they're like, even though it's a lot of like conversations with them together, they're normally like around other people still. So now I'm thinking that I'm going to add a chapter in between 12 and 13 so I can keep that with Nikolai, but I can also squeeze in a chapter between the chapter with Nikolai when they're doing the tour. It's hard to talk about it without spoiling anything. And then like the photo shoot scene, because there's not really time between those two chapters to put anything in the middle. So I think if I'm going to do something, it has to be between 12 and 13. So I think I'm going to create a new chapter, just something like a little bit, not like lighter, but again, just like a moment of them two together. I'm thinking maybe he's going to pick her up and they're going to go to the hardware store together, because a part of this is like her kind of helping him out with some projects and how he has like no tools, you know, and he's going to go and like she's going to help him pick some out, and then kind of have like a little bit of like like they both want it, but like neither want to make the move. So then that way in the photo shoot scene, we've already had that of being like, no one's going to make the move. Then I also I don't have to do any of this, but I am doing this. Later on in chapter 20, which now will most likely be chapter 21 by the time that you read it, needed kind of like some internal dialogue and Carter kind of like just processing everything a little bit. And then that affected a few chapters prior where they had kind of already agreed that they were going to like go all in on things. And I took that out of that scene. So that way then when Carter's processing it, she's kind of coming to that decision on her own that she wants to be all in. And then a few chapters later, they like actually label themselves, you know, in their relationship. So it's just like little things like that are kind of annoying to work around. And like, because then it's like, okay, I'm bumping this shit around. It's like, have I already, like, you're trying to make sure that you've caught every instance when you already had this like old kind of like order of things, and make sure that like nothing feels out of place now. But I mean, again, that's to catch on the next reread and the rereads after that. But it's that kind of stuff that is like a pain, but it's the things that like will make it stronger at the end. It's like adding these little moments, even as little as that, is them not labeling themselves in like chapter 17, but labeling themselves in like chapter 21. That like makes a difference. It makes a difference overall. And that's why, because like that was something that I didn't pick up on my edits, was like, I didn't think twice about that. That's something that 2 out of the 3 people didn't note either. So it's like, it's helpful to just have multiple people looking at it who kind of like are looking for different things. And not that like anyone's like like, I'm not trying to say that anyone's like missing anything. It's just everyone has different things that they're kind of like watching and looking for. And that's why it's helpful to have multiple pairs of eyes on it. Anyways, that is that. So, I'm just really dreading writing a new chapter because I was really thinking that I wasn't going to have to write like a whole chapter from scratch. Okay, it is Thursday, January 11th. I don't know when the last time was. Aria, you're fine. She's sitting at my feet here. It's time for TIKITREATs, and I just wanted to finish this up and give a quick update because I just finished. Well, I didn't fully finish, but I'm very close. But obviously the kitties are calling me and they're demanding me. So I just finished all of my big edits minus the new chapter that I'm adding in. Minus that, I still have to write that, but I'm going to do that tomorrow. But honestly, this time around, I did not have as many like big edits. I don't think it was a lot of small little things here and there. But that felt really good. I'm feeling good about the things that I added and I'm excited to read it back. So now this next edit, so once I finish this chapter, the thing that I have done differently this time is last time when I edited it, I printed it out and I tried to do big edits and also mark up small edits all at once. And I think that was so time consuming. That took me like 3 weeks to get through my first read through. It was insane. It was way too long. It was not a good process. So this time I just converted it to a Word doc and sent it to my Kindle. And I literally just kept track on my notes app on my phone of like chapter, because the pages don't transfer over, right? So it was literally like chapter 12, need to add this, chapter 13, need to do this. And then also that kept me from marking up the little things this first time around. And honestly, I think that was really helpful. I don't know, like obviously there's no right or wrong way to do this process, but if you watched my other video and if you're watching this one and if maybe you're thinking about like writing a book and are kind of curious, I personally am liking this process so much better. And this next read through, so after all the big things are done, so now this next read through is going to be more like line by line, kind of like word choice, rephrasing, trying to proofread. I mean, my editor and I are going to do proofreading and more like line editing stuff. But just for me, this like first round, so that way she doesn't get it and be like, oh my God, how many commas are you well, actually it'll probably be how many dialogue tags do you have wrong, because I'm really bad about dialogue tags. So sorry, Z, if you're watching this. I'm gonna try to fix as many of those before I send them to her, so that way it's in like a little bit of better shape. But with that said, what I think I'm gonna do again, because reading it on the computer and reading it on your Kindle feels different. It gives it a different vibe. I swear, like when I was reading it on my Kindle, there were certain things that I read that it like caught my eye odd, where I know when I've like read that in the Word doc, I haven't thought twice about it. So now I think when I'm doing this line, like more line editing, I'm gonna have both my laptop and my Kindle by my side, and I'm going to be reading on my Kindle, and whenever I see something, then go to my doc and change it and do things that way, just like in live time. Because honestly, also I'm ahead of schedule too, because I don't turn this in until the 25th. And here I was thinking like that's going to be a tight timeline, that's going to be really close, but that was judging off of my editing timeline from Take You Down, which granted I did get COVID literally like a week after I finished my first draft there, and I was down for the count for a while, so I know that factored into it. But still, it took me a long time to edit that other book, where this one I feel like it's going a little bit faster, and I think because this process is working better than like having that physical like print off and trying to do everything at once. So once I kind of do this next round of line editing, or like this next round of editing, I'm not going to touch it again until after I send it to Z, because I'm going to reach a point where I just fucking hate reading it straight up. Like it gets like taxing the amount of times that you have to read it. So when I already know I'm going to have to read it 3 more times when I'm editing it with her. So with that, then I'm going to be starting Line, which I'm really excited for. I'm also going to be vlogging that one as well. And if I haven't mentioned before, Starting Line is my book that's going to be coming out July 29th. It's completely separate from the Whispering Nothings universe. It's a complete standalone sports romance. I'm really fucking excited about it, and I can't wait to start outlining. But I'm really, really sad to be saying goodbye to these two soon, because I truly just love writing them. I'm already thinking about like the epilogue in the very last book, which will be book 4, because I think that epilogue is going to be like a little bit longer, because so I just wrapped up this epilogue, which hopefully people like this this epilogue a little bit more. I personally am not an epilogue kind of person. I don't really like them. I don't care. I don't need to see people happy and in love and married years down the line. This one's like at least a few more months out than Take You Down was. Take You Down's was like pretty shortly after. It was literally like, I think a week later. I don't care. I loved it. I loved that epilogue. And I love this epilogue. It's like, what? I think actually it's like 4 months later. So I'm getting a little bit better. But I was already thinking about in the last book, which I guess I'll say now, it'll be Reed's book. I'm already thinking about the epilogue and thinking about like where Hayden and Carter will be at by the time that book rolls around. Because like even just in timeline of like Take What You Want being... I don't want to for sure say because I haven't for sure said, but it's going to be like a few years down the line. I'm already just thinking about them again. And I just love these two. So anyways... I better go feed the kitties their tiki treats. Actually, should I say it while they're here so that way you guys can see them get all excited? Is it tiki time? Yeah. Okay, so it is, it's Sunday, February 4th, but actually I forgot to make an update yesterday on the 3rd, which was when I saw the first draft of the cover. So I'm going to go ahead and insert at least like the front of the cover right now, because the front of the cover is not going to have any changes made to it. The front of it is perfect. The only thing is the back that we're changing a little bit. So I will like include that whenever like that's changed. But basically, so this front, I am so obsessed with it. It's so much cooler than I could imagine. I sent some of the stock photos over, so I kind of like in my head, I guess like kind of pictured what it would look like. Truly blew me away was the coloring on it, because I was kind of anticipating something where it's like on Take You Down how it's like green in one corner, purple in the other. I was kind of thinking that would be the same thing with like the red and the orange, but no, it's like fiery, like how they're mixed together, and like it almost looks like ashy and like embers and fiery, and oh my god, it just looks so much cooler than I could have ever thought. I'm obsessed with it, and I love it because it looks similar obviously to Take You Down, but it's different. Like you can look at these two covers and see that they are obviously different. There were only two things that I wanted to change. So one is as simple as Carter's name on the back. I just wanted it in a little bit of a lighter orange, so that should be a fairly simple fix, I would think. Then the only other thing is on the back there was also a drum kit with like a guitar propped against it, and so I did ask to swap that out because at first I wasn't sure if I wanted the drums on the front. I was thinking like no drums on this at all. But then when this came through, then I was kind of thinking about it, and it fills in the space really nicely on the front of the cover without it looking busy. So I'm like, if you took the drums out, I feel like it might look kind of empty. And then I'm like, okay, well, what if we added in some different elements on the front? And it's like, I think it would then like kind of clutter the front a little bit. So actually the drums kind of anchor it nicely, and it still shows like this is a rock star romance. And obviously you still got the guy in the middle with his bass, so it's like very clearly like this is the bass player. And then I was thinking, especially ahead to like Nikolai's book, because Nikolai's the singer, like he doesn't have an instrument to play, so it's just going to be like him on the cover. So then I'm like, if he doesn't have drums on it, it's just going to look like very basic. So then I'm like, actually, I think the drums are going to kind of like anchor it on each of the covers, and like that's totally fine. I actually really like that. But then on the back, I'm like, I don't want more drums on the back because obviously like this isn't Walker's book. Like I don't want drums on there. So then my feedback for that was like maybe a camera because Carter's a photographer, a bass included on the back because obviously for Hayden, and then some butterflies and some glass shards, which when you read the book, Hayden and Carter both have butterfly tattoos. They didn't get them like to be like matchy couple. They just like happened to both have them. And then the glass shards come into place with my favorite scene in the entire book, which is when they do a photo shoot. And when you get to it, I think, what chapter is it? Is it like chapter 16 or something? So anyways, though, I'm just like so obsessed. I just feel so grateful to have these be my covers. I mean, obviously I know I'm biased. They're my covers. They're they're what I want. But when I like look around at other covers, I just feel like there's nothing like that's similar to it. You know, like I can't think of another cover that looks like mine. And like then when you see other ones and like new releases coming out, I feel like I've never seen one where I'm like, oh, that looks like my cover. Like, no, they're just different and they're cool. They're people covers, but they're like artistic and like, oh my God, I feel so lucky to have the covers that I do because I just think they're so cool. Now we're 2 months away from release, or we're less than 2 months away from release. And while I'm really excited, I also am trying to tamper my expectations for this release. and just not get my hopes up. That sounds bad, but it's like, I know it's a second book in a series, and even though it's a standalone, I just still don't know how many people are going to pick it up. And it's friends to lovers. It's not like, I feel like as tropey or like, I don't know, is maybe, it's not going to be like an instant click, I feel like, for a lot of people. And I don't know, it's a story that I love, and that's what's important to me, is just I want to write the stories that I love and that I care about. And I never want to write something just because I think like it'll do better. But I am just kind of tampering my expectations that I don't think that this is going to be like, everyone run and read it. I'm just really like proud of it, and I hope that I can maintain that when I got my feedback back from Z. I'm sure I will have a moment of being like, I suck and I should just pack it up and go home, but we'll see. We'll see how that actually goes. A while since I've had anything to update for this vlog. It is Friday. Oh, I should turn off my little ambiance sound. It's Friday. It's not Friday. It's Sunday, February 18th, and it is editing time. I finally got my edits back from my editor on Take My Hand, so I am starting to go through them. So we are doing 2 rounds of copy editing and 1 round of proofreading. The proofreading I'm not looking forward to because it's just boring. Copy editing I'm not necessarily looking forward to either. It's a lot of mixed emotions doing editing. On one hand, it's nice to see what is good. Like, she made a little comment, like, beautiful verbiage, and I was like, oh, I love that. And then I see all the red, and then I'm like, And here's the thing, it's stuff that I need to hear. I know I do. It's just, I've been preparing to spiral. Z was messaging me yesterday as she was finishing it up, and she was like, I'm getting ready to send it, whatever. And she's already said how much she likes Hayden and Carter, which like makes me excited. And she had said like, Walker and Scar can step back because like these 2 are better. And like, part of me kind of agrees. I do think that this book is, but it should be better, right? Every book should be better. But then she also, so when I turned it in, it was about 112,000 words. And then she said that it was 105 as she was giving it back. And that had me worried a little bit. Because there's a fine balance, I feel like, of fluff and then like bare bones of a story, and like not having a voice, and not having like my voice or like my tone come through in the story. So I was kind of worried, and then I think I was making her anxious about it, and then she was like, now you're making me second guess. And I'm like, I think we're just both 2 anxious individuals looking at this. So she's like, fight me on anything that you want. So we'll see. So far, I'm literally only on page 3. I don't have anything that I've like clung to. But I do think that that is a very fine balance though in editing, that I think is just something that her and I are going to have to find, is like, I know that I need to hear it. If something needs to be cut, it needs to be cut. But also I don't want to lose, like, I don't want the story to just feel like, not like robotic, that's not the way, but like not feel like it even has like any personality or like tone behind it, in order to kind of, like, I feel like sometimes the fluff is what makes like writers' stuff stand out. Like when I'm reading books, I can tell sometimes like whose book I'm reading when I'm reading it because of like the tone, the vibe, like it just comes, like right now I'm reading Serpentine Valentine by Gianna Darling. I can tell that this is a Gianna Darling book that I'm reading because of the tone and because of the writing. And like, I don't want it to become so like just like bare bones, this is kind of like what it needs to be kind of thing. But also at the same time, like, I know that I'm paying her to tell me what I need to fix. So I told her yesterday, I'm like, I'm ready to spiral. So I'm ready to spiral on this fine Sunday, which I'm sure I will be doing a lot of today. Who knows, I might hit a point today where I'm like, I just need to walk away because I get like so in my head about it. It's okay. It's okay. We're not gonna spiral. We're not gonna spiral. On the bright side, I did get the final cover done and I love it. So that's good. The cover's done. I just have to send back the dimensions once this is formatted, because obviously like the mock-up is not going to match the actual dimensions, which is something that I didn't know when I first published, was that you have to let the cover designer know your actual dimensions, like on Amazon and stuff, because you will need the actual size. And I didn't realize like with page count, because obviously on the spine, like the spine could be really big or really small, so you need to let them know that. So that's the last thing that I have to do with the cover. And I'm doing the cover reveal not tomorrow, Monday, but the following Monday. So that's something to kind of look forward to. Listen, if there's one thing that's gonna happen to me with every fucking book, it's that there's gonna be a goddamn typo in it. So, and Take You Down, there was a typo on page 250. If you have the original copy, you have the typo in it. If you bought the book within like the first, I think, month maybe of it being out, you have the typo in it, because it took a long time for it to come to my attention. And now with Take My Hand, someone just DM'd me on Instagram. Thankfully, like if you see a typo, please let me know, especially when it's on the cover. I don't know how many times I reread that blurb over and over and over again. And there's a typo in Hayden's part of his blurb. Oh my God, I'm just annoyed. Because I feel like my brain just feels like it moves too fast to catch the little things. And I know then that's why I have that's why I have an editor who's doing proof. Like we've done copy, we've done proof. I've read this book how many times, but I swear there's probably gonna end up being a typo in it at the end anyways, which is fine. Like literally there was a typo in Crescent City, in the last Crescent City book. So like I know that it happens, but it's just annoying because I feel like I have an eye for detail, but it feels like my mind is like too many places. And I've been feeling this way for like the last year, where I don't feel like, even like I'm noticing when I'm like typing in my texts or typing at work, like I just feel like I'm skipping words and I'm like, what is wrong? Like, what is wrong? So I'm extremely irritated by that. But thank you very much to the person who DM'd me and let me know, because I don't know how many times I looked at that cover or how many other people looked at it and either people didn't notice it or you didn't say anything, which if you were one of the people who noticed and didn't say anything, please say something, especially when it's on the cover. Okay, I'm actually gonna film a new update because I don't think the one last night, I don't know if I'm going to want to use it because I was quite frankly in such a bad mood. I had a bad night last night. So it is Tuesday, March 5th? I don't even remember the day. Like my brain is fried from work today, and then now thinking about tonight, all the things I have to do still. Anyways, so what happened last night? So I finally got my final proofread back from my editor. So like the book is done. Thank God. So I went through, read it again yesterday, accepted all of the proof changes, whatever. So in Vellum, then the program that I used to format, I formatted my entire book, and I had so many more text conversations, and that was just like tedious going through adding all the little text blocks, but whatever, it looks cute. And I had all the same formatting, the pretty interior formatting that I had from Take You Down. I was so excited. I exported it. I'm like, this is gonna be so easy because now like I know how this drill goes. I get on Amazon, I get it in there. Why in Vellum does it say that my manuscript is 5x8, but then when I uploaded it to Amazon, it says that it's actually like 5.13 by 8.25. Make it make sense. I don't know how that's doing that. It took me, I shit you not, it was the entire Rangers game last night that I was watching. It took me that entire time going back and forth, then like going back into Vellum, adjusting margins, trying to figure this out, generating the book the PDF copy, going back to Amazon, re-uploading the new PDF, then launching the preview file, and like the launch print preview file or whatever takes like sometimes up to like 5 minutes to load. It's so slow, only for it to then tell me again that like it's not the right size. So I was just so frustrated, and I think I'm just like very stressed out right now. Obviously it is kind of my own fault, but it's also just because of Starting Line. Like Starting Line, it has to be released and like on that release date. Like I don't want to move that. But with that said, now I am trying to finish all of this stuff for Take My Hand, work, and then also write Starting Line. And I'm moving and I'm just stressed the fuck out. I was just very angry last night. I was really not happy. I just need a bit of stress relief. Oh my God. Anyways, so I shouldn't even be complaining. This is all stuff that it's like, it's fun. It's fun stuff, right? Anyways, that being said, as of right now, then I just ended up, so the way that I fixed it last night was I just took out all of the pretty formatting. Like, I mean, obviously still like the text box, whatever, that's all in there. But like the music notes that were on the inside pages of Take You Down and stuff, like on the chapter headers, that's all gone. Cause that's what was throwing it off, was that image was like flooding past the little boxes. And I'm like, can you, like none of the text is getting cut off, just cut off the picture. But of course, because it's a computer, you can't just like tell to do that. And then it's like, we can try resizing it for you. And then it did, but then it made it all like itty bitty. And then there was like a bar of white space at the top of the page. And I was like, you know what? No formatting. I genuinely don't know what the issue is. I did like all of the Googling. I was going through like the Vellum little like help templates. I literally tried everything and it was just not working. So I don't know. As of right now, it's not going to have the pretty interior formatting. And honestly, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like, it still looks nice. It still looks cohesive, whatever. It's just not going to look the same on the inside as Take You Down. But like, it really doesn't matter that much. And honestly, right now, like, I'm so over it, and it just needs to be what it needs to be at this point. Like, that at the end of the day is really not that important. So nonetheless, I got it at least formatted and uploaded last night, and then I was able to email my cover designer. So hopefully I will be getting that back soon, and then I can have it uploaded. And then literally Take My Hand is like done. Like, it is off of my hands. As soon as I have that cover back and uploaded, then it is literally just done until release day. I have like all of my graphics planned out. I have them all made, and then literally I can just sit back until it's release day. And like, that's just kind of what, and then will not sit back, focus all my energy back into starting line, because I'm just not where I need to be with that book right now. I'm only at like 19,000 words, and it's March 5th, and I want to have that done by the end of April. Like, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. You know, though, how like I get questions a lot about like work-life balance. Right now, I don't really have much of it. But it's okay, because it's all for the greater good. It's all for the greater good. Okay, this might be one of the last videos that I make for this vlog, because it is Wednesday, March 13th. So I'm getting ready to leave for a bachelorette party trip for the weekend, and pretty much everything for Take My Hand is done. Like, I have all of my graphics now made for release. I've already been posting them every Monday and Thursday, and I have like arcs are all out to people. The last thing I need is just to get my cover finally resized, but that is literally the last piece of the puzzle. I don't even really know how this like fits into the video as a whole, but it's just something that I wanted to comment on in case if anyone is watching this and wants to write a book or like doubts it or whatever. Like, especially your first book. Your first book, I don't think is ever going to be your best book. I can't think of a single author that not the first book that I read from them, but their actual first book is their best book. You know, all of my favorites. Penelope Douglas, Bully, I don't think is their best book. QB, I don't think My Best Friend's Sister is her best book. Who else? Sarah J. Maas, I don't think Throne of Glass is her best book. I mean, I think it's her best series, but everyone needs a starting place. And I wish that I would have been a little nicer to myself, I think, back when Take You Down was releasing, because as we're heading into the final weeks before, like, what Take My Hand releases in just over a week and a half now, there was a lot going on when I released Take You Down, and I don't feel like I really had like a sense of pride about that book in a way. I think I was just so full of doubting it. And I remember I don't know why I had to drive over to my parents' house, and I was parked in the driveway for a second before I had to go inside, and I was like literally almost crying on a voice memo to Cheyenne, asking her like, honestly, like, do you honestly think I should do this? Like, do you honestly think I should publish this book? And it was like literal days before it was supposed to be published, and I was like really close to just not, because obviously no one knew about it. Like, I could have just pulled it and no one would have ever known. And I just like remember feeling like so just like doubtful about that book as a whole. And like, it's a story I love, don't get me wrong. I am proud of that book looking back. I mean, obviously there are already things that I would do differently for it, but I'm sure I'll look back and Take My Hand one day and find things that I would change. I don't think there's probably going to be a book that I ever write that I probably don't look back on and at least see like one or two things that I could change. But I just have more of like a sense of peace with this book in a way where I just feel like good about the story. I don't know how to articulate it. I just have a sense of peace about it that I didn't have with Take You Down. I think I'm more nervous about Take My Hand because there's been more build up in terms of like I've been able to like promote it, obviously, and it's got certain topics in it that people might completely just disregard the book as a whole once they read something that they disagree with, and I can't change anyone's opinion on that. So I think that in a way there's certain things that I should be like a little more nervous about with it, but I just feel better about it. I actually feel like proud about it. And Cheyenne just texted me and she was like, your first Goodreads review is up from an ARC reader, and she's like, and it's 5 stars. And she just sent like a little snippet because like I don't want to go near that right now, especially like before the book's out, because I just kind of want to maintain this like piece. I don't want to second guess it before it's even out in the world. Not that it's like whenever someone tells me that they like Take You Down, it's not that I like don't believe them, but it's almost like, I don't know, I have a harder time believing it, where almost like hearing that this one was a 5-star, I'm like, like I feel like, yeah, like I feel bad. And granted, this, I know actually this book, so my friend Allie, my best friend since I was little, she's read both of them now. I sent her the pre-edited of Take You Down, or of Take My Hand even, but she's read both Take You Down and Take My Hand, and at the end, like, she loved it, whatever, but at the end, then I asked her, I was like, Walker and Scar, Hayden and Carter, because she loves Walker and Scar so much. And she said, like, Walker and Scar still. So I know that there are going to be people still who, like, maybe do pick the first book over the second book. But, and, like, I love Walker and Scar. And I'm not trying to say any of this of, like, that I'm trying to shit on the first book or trying to be, like, if you haven't read it, like, thinking that it's, like, a pile of shit. Like, I don't feel that way. It's just that I do feel, Aria Wren. Bro, that door is closed to you for right now. No doors in this house can ever be fucking closed. The pantry door, they don't care about. That is the one door in the house that they truly don't care if it's closed or not. Every other door in this household always needs to be wide open. Like, I had a friend over the other night and they were using the bathroom and the cat sat outside the closed bathroom door because it's like they can't even let people pee in peace. I'm not trying to say that I'm not proud of Take You Down, or like that I'm trying to like undersell that book by any means, but it's just more like hearing that this one had a 5-star review. It was kind of like the first time that I'd been like, yeah, like I don't know. I feel like, yeah, that's good. I don't know. It's just such a weird thing, like doing this, you know? I'm excited. It's almost out. I'm sure I'll have a freak out. I'm sure I will right before it releases. But hopefully that won't hit me because I will be getting drunk at a Chili's the day that it releases. I'm going out to dinner with my friends, and they did like a nice big dinner back when Take You Down released, and this time around I was like, we can like tame it down a little bit, like boyfriends, fiancés, other friends, like we don't really need like a bunch of people at this one. I'm like, especially because this is not that many months apart, and again at like a nicer place. I'm like, let's just go to a Chili's. I want to get the triple dipper and I want to have a margarita, okay? And that's what I'm going to be doing on release day. So hey, I think this is going to be this last check-in for this vlog, because honestly there's really not that much left to do. So it is what is it, Tuesday, March 19th. So officially 6 days out from release. Still am waiting on my final cover resizing. So, and tonight is the deadline to get that submitted to Amazon in order for it to be able to go live on release, or like the paperbacks. Obviously the book can still be published. It can go into KU and ebooks. But if I don't get that, which again, this would be the second time that happened because it also happened with Take You Down. At this point, it is what it is. I'll either get it or I can't. It's literally out of my hands. We will see, fingers crossed, within the next, whatever, 6 hours that I have until the deadline of like 11:59. That's the last thing to be done, is the cover to be uploaded. So anyways, that is kind of it for this video. I can't believe that it's like the end of another one of these writing vlogs, and that I've now written my second book. That's pretty crazy, but I think as you've seen over the course of this vlog, I had the best time writing this book. It was, I just love these two characters. It was such an enjoyable process, and I'm proud of this book at the end of the day. I was obviously proud of Take You Down, and like, but it was more so I feel like a pride about being like, I wrote a book and this is my first one, and like it's out there and into the world, where this one I just feel really proud about these characters and about their story, and I'm really excited for anyone to pick it up who is interested in reading it. Thank you in advance to anyone who reads it, whether you like it, whether you don't. Thank you for giving it a shot. I'm really just happy with these two. I'm sad that I've had to say goodbye to them, but you know, goodbye, like they'll still be making appearances. You know, there's still 2 more books in the series. So obviously now I will go ahead and include this here. I think I've talked about it over the course of the video, but book 3 is called Take What You Want. That is Nikolai and Jane's book. It's mentioned at the end of Take My Hand that their book is next. I'm really excited for their book. I can't wait. They've been very chatty in my head. I've had to kind of push them aside so I can finish Starting Line with TJ and Caleb. That's my summer book. But I am hoping to have Take What You Want out in November or December of this year. I'm hoping for that. I'm thinking that's pretty realistic, but I also do just want to say, like, I don't actually know. Don't hold me to that because I have been pretty stressed out with like deadlines lately, but really excited for Jane and Nikolai. And then Reed's book will be last, and that will probably be out in early to mid 2025. I'm not saying anything about who his woman is. You literally won't know until basically that book is out. I'm holding those tropes very tight to the chest for that one. But I'm really excited for this series to just keep going and continuing to grow. And it's been really cool to see arcs actually go out and to see people be excited about it and be excited to get an arc of the book. But anyways, we're going to wrap this video up because it's already a super long video. But once again, just thank you, first of all, to anyone who finished watching this whole video because this is long, but thank you to everyone behind the scenes who helped get this book out. You all know who you are. And thank you to anyone who reads it, anyone who watches my channel here and follows me into this writing journey, and anyone who gives any of my books a chance. I just I feel very lucky to be able to do this. So anyways, that is it for today's video. That is a wrap on Take My Hand, and it's available in Kindle Unlimited, ebook, and paperback are on Amazon. Hopefully paperback's up on release day. That's it for today's video, and I'll see you when I see you.